Hi Stampers! Today I'd like to share with you the project that I gave my hostesses this month, and it was this little package here, and they were going to make this, and it's one of our little paper gift bags that are craft. They could have either the polka dot or the chevrons, so some will get some chevrons and some will get some polka dots, and this little tag with the monogram, and then inside they'll have 4 of these monogrammed cards, and they're just plain inside, but it's embossed on the black panel. And this little oval here is what I want to talk to you about. I'm going to show you how I did the initials and a couple little tricks I found with that. So to do these monograms, we're going to be using these letters, and they come from the Sophisticated Serif alphabet set that's in the Occasions Mini for spring, and I've been having a lot of fun with it since we had this silly snowstorm and hardly anybody made it to class. I've been doing everybody's monograms for them, which has been a little crazy. So this is how my hostesses get their kit. It's all packaged up for them, and so what I've been doing is going back and pulling out everybody's ovals and putting their initials on, and they can color them and do some embossing to their base panels at home. So we have our little white pieces here. So I'm going to do the alphabet for one of the ladies that I haven't done yet. And her initials are G-E-B. So we'll start with our B. We'll pull that out, and then we need our G and our E. So I think she's going to have a pretty nice balanced initial. Everybody seems to be a little different. Some people have letters that are about the same size, and some people don't. So what I found was the easiest way for me doing these initials was to first put down the middle initial face down as if it were being stamped on the paper, and I'm kind of lining it up so it looks nice and straight. I hope you guys can see that. I know it's hard with the photopolymer. And then I'm going to take the next letter and I'm going to put it down just the way it would be stamped, because I'm going to put my block over top. And I've been finding that the best thing to do is to put these real close together, probably closer than you would think would be a good idea, but if I space them out they don't look as good. And also with the side letters, I'm trying to go either a block up or a block down, depending on how it works with the big letter. Like if it were a T, then I'm going to obviously worry more about where I'm at on the top than at the bottom, but you'll see. So this one's not, I gotta flip that guy over. That's been actually pretty tricky, is making sure that you get the letters upside down, I guess, and even. So I'm making sure that these two are even on my little grids here. My block is here pretty even. I think my letters are pretty straight. And they kind of stick to your fingers, so when you're trying to place them it can be a little hard to get them absolutely straight. So it looks pretty good. I think I'm going to bring this G out just a hair. And then I'm going to just take my block and I'm going to sit it down over my letters. Make sure they're on good. And then I'm also going to make sure that I get the inside of these letters kind of pushed down on my block so that I can avoid some of the shadows that you sometimes pick up with your ink pad. And then before I stamp on my ovals, I'm using the black tuxedo memento ink here, and I'm going to ink up my letters real good. Some of the letters seem to have some like of a coating on them when they're new. So I want to make sure that I test them before I use them. And I'm going to again use my little line to give me an idea of how much I like how they're arranged on the block. So they seem to be pretty well arranged. I like the arrangement. I think the heights are good. I think they're pretty straight. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I want to get a little more coverage. So I'm going to clean this stamp and then I'm going to stamp it on my good ones. So I'll be right back to do that. Okay, I scrubbed up my letters and now I'm going to get some nice ink on here. I'm not going to push real hard because I don't want to squish the ink up into the spaces between the letters. I just want to get it on the surface, and you actually get a better surface grab if you just kind of go lightly, lots of little taps. I'm going to take my oval. I'm going to try and put it so that I can get some help visually from my grid lines to get my alphabet straight. Oh, that G looks a little light still. Let me get that G. That's better. And so one of the really cool things about these photopolymers is when you put them down, you can kind of see the ink transferring onto the paper. So you can sometimes see whether you've gotten a good coverage or not. I'm going to try not to rock, but yet just put pressure on the letters so that that ink will go. And I got some pretty nice coverage, so I'm going to do all 4 of those. And then after I've done them all, I have one of the little flowers mounted on a block. And then I just kind of took and stamped these little guys. Oops, I'm not on camera, sorry. Just stamped them either side of my letters. And that was that. So, pretty fun. I'll show you some of the other letters. So, here's one of the other ladies. Now, she had JTT was her initials, and because it was really hard to get up here with the T hanging down and having another T here, I couldn't really tuck them in, so I lined those up pretty much almost even across the bottom, and that came out pretty nice and balanced on there. Let's see. Now one of the other ladies, what are her initials? So we have a JSL, and the S is a very circular kind of even letter, so these are actually really easy to put in. Now the J is much narrower than the L, so I kind of had to judge where I wanted my center to be. I didn't really want to get the S completely centered. It's actually over a little bit so that visually the whole cluster is centered, and I have the same space kind of end and end getting my little flowers in. So I found I had to make a lot of those little decisions about placement as I was doing the different initials for my club ladies. Oh, okay. I'm trouble finding that one. And then this one was JLE, and again we have kind of the off base, but this one has the L coming out, so I kind of tucked the E in over the L so that my spacing was pretty even that way. So you just have to make a lot of those little decisions about how you like them, and it's really just going to be personal preference and what looks balanced and happy to your eye. For the tag, we use this new tag topper punch that was in the Occasions Mini, and we need a piece of paper to punch it with. Here it is. So we just have a piece of paper, and I just cut the slices of paper at 4 1/4 inches, so half of our 8 1/2. And this one's a little bit big for it, but it's okay. I can get that in there, no problem, and punch it. And I've already stamped and punched out one flower using this Petal Potpourri stamp set and the matching punch. And then I'm going to take my stamp, and I like to get my stamps that I'm going to punch out for the most part in the wood mount. I just really like that. So before I stamp that, I'm going to take off the G and the E, so I just have the B of the initials here. And I'm going to take my B, ink it up, and stamp that down in my tag. And then I just need my stamp, and I'm going to ink that up, stamp my tag, and then I would color the flowers in and then layer that punched out flower with a dimensional, and of course it comes out looking like our finished product here. And I did try a couple different color combinations. This is the Pink Pirouette with the Daffodil Delight, and here's one with the Old Olive and one with the Crumb Cake. So I really liked the Daffodil Delight the best, so that's the one that I used for my project. And then with this one I just used the Old Olive and the Pink Pirouette. To get my coloring, I used my light and my dark on my punched out flower. And let me put it where you guys can see it. It was really easy coloring. I just took my dark blendability and I just made some of the lines over with the dark. And as you can see, I'm not being real perfectionistic or hung up on getting this overly neatly with this part. I'm just staying in the lines and adding some dark highlights into this flower. I don't know if it's a dahlia or sunflower, whatever you want it to be, I guess. And then I just went back in with the lightest version, and then I was a little more careful about staying in the lines and just brought my color right over top like that. Okay, we did that all the way around, so I won't make you watch me. Really simple, not getting hung up on technique or anything like that. And then I'm just going to take my medium tone of the Daffodil Delight, and I just went in with circles, and I went lightly. I didn't necessarily cover every bit of white. I left a little bit here and there with the highlights, and really just made an easy job of it. Now, anyone who doesn't have the blendabilities and they are going to color these at home, they can use whatever they would normally color with. You know, if they're in Hostess Club and they're going to get this kit to color, they can use colored pencils or chalks or whatever they like to color with, because we all have to color sometime. So the last little thing I'll tell you about is just our little ribbon here. This little piece of burlap started its life as this big piece of burlap, and we just cut it down the center and then cut off the two ends. So just take our scissors. Don't have to be perfect. I'm gonna put the lid on my ink pad so it doesn't end up with burlap in it. And I'm going to cut, and I don't have to cut every last bit of this stitching off, just enough that it's going to have all the stitches broken so that I can pull this edge away. So just pull that off. It goes. And I'm going to pull one of the strings on this end, and When I have a nice fray that I like, then I can just snip off that little end so it's in a point. Pull it through. And then I'm just going to do a single knot because this burlap's kind of stiff. And then we're just going to clip it with the little paper clip to our bag. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed this and maybe you got some tips out of it to help you with your monogram set. Have a great day.